What's up, everybody? Week 4 in the books. We're almost a third of the way through the season, and man, it is shaping up, man. This past week, we had the last of the unbeatens go down. We had a crazy come from behind victory. We had some nail biters, and yeah, man, let's jump right into it. We have first matchup, Brooklyn Giants, Eli, two-time Super Bowl MVP. And man, it came down to the wire, Monday Night Football. And Will pulls out the 148-146 victory. Breida Hodges comes through at the end, and DK Metcalf pushing him over with a 2-point victory. And man, for my team, between Myers and Cooper, my wide receivers did nothing, man. 7 points. Brooklyn Giants goes up to 3-1. Eli, two-time Super Bowl MVP, drops down to 500. 2-game losing streak at 2-2. Next matchup, Ojo Meister, Bushwick Hitman. And Ojo with his first victory of the season, 167-122. And it's McCaffrey having a monster, 49 points last week. Man, Bubba Thompson, your backup QB for Cleveland, -1 point. Bushwick Hitman drops down to 1-3. Gotham Knights, Steel Curtain 13, and it was Terry with the 120-117 nail biter. And why was it a nail biter? Man, I was watching this game closely. Terry just needed, I think, like a point from Myers, and all of a sudden he gets that missed field goal. He's at -3. It looked like Ariel was gonna pull out the win, and then extra point makes it 0. He was holding on to the slimmest of margins, and then he gets the insurance field goal, 120-117. Terry goes up to 3-1. Steel Curtain 13 drops down to 1-3. Next matchup, Flying Buffalo Wings, Frank's Jets. Frank's Jets undefeated. Yeah, he gets his first L, losing 171-137. Part of the success in this league is free agent pickups. And the combination of the Rams wide receiver and, I can't pronounce his name, and that's what I'm saying, Nakao, whatever you pronounce his name. And we also have Williams combined for 60 points. Alex, 3-1. M-Team 8000, Iron Picket Fence, Battle of the Winless. And is Marco with the 110-78 victory. And man, Jordan, for you, man, your QBs are just not performing, man. Pickett and Burrow combined for 8 points. And it's just been a horrific start, man. Jordan drops down to 0-4. Marco gets his first win. Is at 1-3. Next matchup, Team Deal against Bad Boys, the undefeated team. And this Bad Boy is getting his first loss of the season, 165-150. Thanks in large part to the Cowboys defense, who got 26 points. Man, Danny, you got a 3-1 start, man. It's probably getting your best start of the fantasy league. And a lot of it isn't due to that Cowboys defense. They are just putting up consistently, not even just double-digit points, but 20-plus points. Team Deal, Danny and Eddie both going to 3-1. And the final matchup, we had Rid of Me This against the defending champs, Legendary Giant. Wall came into the game with a 6-point lead going into Monday night. He had Gano from the Giants, the kicker. All that Marty had was the Seattle defense. And boy, did that defense not disappoint. Listen, it was a horrific game for the Giants. 11 sacks. Seattle defense ends up getting 32 points. Rid of Me This, down 6 going in, ends up winning by 20 points. Insane. Rid of Me This goes to 2-2. Defending champs, Legendary Giant drops down to 2-2. All right, so let's look at the standings. On top of the leaderboard, Flying Buffalo Wings. After losing his first game, he's on a 3-game winning streak, and he is 3-1. Gotham Knights, number 2 spot, goes up 2 slots at 3-1 to the number 2, and he's got a 2-game winning streak. Just want to share that both losses were to I just want to share that little tidbit. Next up, we have Team Deal, who goes up 5 slots, the second biggest jump, at 3-1 in the number 3 spot. Frank's Jets drops down 2 slots in the number 4 spot at 3-1. Bad Boys drops down 4 slots in the number 5 slot at 3-1. And Brooklyn Giants, even with the win, drops down 1 slot as at 3-1. So we've got 6 teams, the top 6 teams, tied at 3-1. Next up, we got 3 teams who are 2-2. Taking the number 7 spot and moving up 4 spots is Rid of Me This, who's 2-2 with his win last week. Legendary Giant, with his loss, drops down to the 8th spot at 2-2. And then the biggest drop this week, Eli, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, goes from 3rd down to 9th. 6 spots outside the playoffs, looking in at 2-2 on the 2-game losing streak. Ojo Meister, MC 8000, Bushwick Hitman, and Steel Curtain 13 round out 10-13, all at 1-3. And Jordan is 0-4 in 14th spot. But don't fret, Jordan, because you're only 2 games out the 8th playoff spot. That being said, we have some trade alerts this week. We had 2 trades. First, we have Frank's Jets and Ojo Meister. Frank's Jets trades Joshua Dobbs to Ojo Meister in exchange for wide receiver T. Higgins. And then we had another trade. Top names here. Eli, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, acquiring Chris Olave in exchange for Jonathan Taylor, who just came back with the Colts and signed a 3-year extension. So Jordan has a running back, Jonathan Taylor, and Eli, 2-time Super Bowl MVP with Chris Olave. All right, so last week, the favored teams were 3-4. A lot of comebacks in the afternoon games. Let's jump into this week. We have Ojo Meister going up against Eli, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And Ojo Meister's up early 18-0 with 1 person used. And Ojo Meister's favored to win this week. Next up, we have Steel Curtain going up against Brooklyn Giants. And Steel Curtain is up 42-0 early with 2 players in. And Steel Curtain is favored for the upset against Brooklyn Giants. Next up, we have the number 4, Frank's Jets, going up against number 12, Bushwick Hitman. And Frank is up early 43-0 thanks to the Bears' domination against the Commanders. Frank's Jets is favored. Next up, we have number 2, Gotham Knights, going up against number 11, Team 8000. And right now, neither team has got a player in, but Gotham Knights is favored to win. Next up, number 5, Bad Boys against number 1, Flying Buffalo Wings. Best matchup of the week. And right now, Bad Boys up 21-0 early with 2 guys in, but Flying Buffalo Wings is favored to win this matchup. And then you have the winless Iron Picket Fence going up against Rid of Me This. And Iron Picket Fence up 51-14. Both have a player in. And Iron Picket Fence is favored to win this week. And in the last matchup, you have Team Deal going up against Legendary Giant. And Team Deal is up 8-0 early. But Legendary Giant is favored to win. So I was looking at some of the teams. And looking at some of the teams in the outside looking in the playoff spot. And I had a few questions. Bubba, last week I looked at your roster. You have 5 quarterbacks on your roster. 5, including Brian Hoyer. I've seen since then you've dropped him, which was a smart thing. But 5 QBs? I know this is a 2 QB league, but man, 5 QBs, that was a lot. And then next up, we had Iron Picket Fence. I mean, honestly, Jordan, your team is just underperformed. You're the lowest scoring team in the league, and your QBs, the combination of oh my God, my mind is going blank. Burrow's just had a horrific season, and then Kenny Pickett has just not been good. Hopefully they turn it around, and hopefully that trade gives you some a boost. But yeah, as for me, Ojo Meister, we look at our teams and Marco. Honestly, what it comes down to is that we've scored more than half the teams that are in the playoff spot. So I think it comes down to matchups. We've had just some games, we've had some close games that we've lost. And Yeah, it just comes down to I think it's going to even out, so I'm not worried about those three teams. Like I said, they've scored more points than half the teams that are in the top eight. As for Steel Curtain, I mean, I go same thing. You've got 3 losses by a combined of 34 points, so it's just you just haven't won the close matchups. But like I said, it's still early. Look, the teams who are 10 to 13, they're only 1 game out of the playoff spot. Everything is pretty close. Over the next 4 weeks, you're going to start really seeing the separation between the teams. And I think the top 4 you're going to see, and then you're going to have the bottom 4 who are going to be battling up with the outside 4 looking in, and that's going to make up the playoff race going forward. Giants had a horrific game last week, and I think it was a combination of things. I think this Giant team struggles against good teams, and they also struggle playing primetime games. I mean, when it comes to primetime games, they don't show up. That being said, I think this Miami game, while the Giants may still lose, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people anticipate. But I'm going to tell you right now, disclaimer, do not hold me responsible for this. This is just my opinion. But man, next week the Giants play Buffalo, a Sunday night game. Bet big on Buffalo because good playoff team, and it's a primetime game. The Giants just can't win those games. So next week, if you're a betting person, bet high on Buffalo because I don't see the Giants winning next week. But this week, listen, I can see the Giants pulling an upset on Miami. They played better during the day. That O-line just needs to do something. As for the Jets, it was finally nice to see Zach Wilson finally open it up a little bit. First player in college or in pros to outplay Patrick Mahomes stat-wise, which was interesting. Let's see if it continues. You guys have a good week. As always, G-Men. Hopefully, we pull out the upset this week. There's a Buffalo game early against Jacksonville, so you guys enjoy a full day of football. Talk to you guys soon.